Futurama, where the future solved science, space travel, and robots. Sports, however, went completely off the rails. Here's how Futurama took every game and made it worse. We'll begin with Ball, the future version of baseball that somehow solved nothing. A Leela of her own. Season 3, Episode 16. A new pizza place opens across from Planet Express, run by the Signoids, and Leela insists on being friendly, because optimism is her default setting even when danger is obvious. The crew goes to greet them, and the visit turns strange immediately. The Signoids have absolutely no idea how Earth works, or how food should survive the cooking process.
I don't mean to offend, but this tastes like vomit.
Thank you!
Fry tries to help by explaining how not to make pizza using live bees and crushed rats, proving that alien cuisine is just horror with toppings. Fry decides that culture can be fixed with sports, which is the kind of logic that feels confident but never works. He introduces Ball, the future version of baseball that solved every problem except watchability. The Planet Express crew and the Signoids form teams and head to a park. The game starts badly and immediately commits to staying that way. Leela usually tries to be perfect, but Ball exposes her weakness instantly. She lacks depth perception, which causes her to throw wild pitches that never come close to the plate. Instead, the ball keeps smashing directly into opposing players' heads.
Can I use bat to protect head?
Apparently not.
Not once, not twice, but repeatedly, as if head trauma is an official feature. Somehow, she's still allowed to play. In the Futurama universe, chaos attracts attention, and Leela's accidental violence quickly pulls in crowds who realize this is the most exciting thing Ball has ever produced. Her reputation reaches Abner Double Deal, the owner of the new New York Mets, who doesn't see talent, effort, or improvement, but only novelty. A one-eyed woman beaning players non-stop sounds profitable, so Leela is signed immediately and declared the first woman in professional Ball. Leela believes she's making history, but the truth is uglier. The Mets were losing relevance, and Leela's failure was just entertaining enough to save them. She realizes she's terrible at the sport and has no control, but the crowd keeps laughing, which is all that matters. Naturally, Bender smells money and installs himself as her agent.
Bender, how did you get in here?
As your agent, I have access to you at all times.
Turning Leela's humiliation into ads, deals, and autograph lines that stretch longer than her confidence. The illusion collapses when Jackie Anderson, a genuinely skilled college player, confronts Leela and says what no one else will.
Your little freak show is making it impossible for real female ball players to be taken seriously. I hope you're proud of yourself.
The words hit harder than any pitch. Leela thought she was helping. Instead, she realizes she's become a joke in uniform. Determined to improve, Leela seeks out Hank Aaron the 24th, the worst Ball player of all time, which feels appropriate. She's not chasing greatness anymore, she just wants to stop being the punchline. If anyone understands failure, it's definitely him. With his help, Leela finally throws a proper strike, which is a very big achievement for a player like Leela. The season ends in the final game, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs left, Mets winning. Leela, fully confident, begs to be put in, but the manager hesitates, thinks briefly, and agrees, proving bad judgment is the most consistent character on the team. On the pitch, Leela faces Jackie Anderson and throws 2 clean strikes, giving the crowd just enough hope to feel invested, before the third pitch turns into a grand slam that ends the game immediately. The entertainment requirement is satisfied, and Leela freezes as her moment collapses in real time. Afterward, Jackie admits something uncomfortable. Leela was a role model. By being so bad, she forced other women to work harder to be taken seriously. It isn't comforting, but it's honest, and Leela accepts it quietly, as she kinda has no other choice. The episode ends by mocking baseball itself, where fame replaces skill, failure gets marketed, and attention matters more than winning or fairness. Once baseball proves chaos can be profitable, Futurama moves on to something even louder. Raging Bender, Season 2, Episode 8. The crew is watching All My Circuits, the movie, and Bender ends up stuck behind a robot whose head blocks the entire screen, the kind of head that turns public seating into an act of hostility. And of course, Bender doesn't overthink it. His reaction is basically,
You mind taking your head off?
I'm sorry, sir, but I need it to watch the movie.
like, seriously, Since he's here to watch something, not admire the back of a skull. The request has already been made. Logic can catch up later. Bender, growing impatient, starts kicking the back of the seat, escalating like someone who believes annoyance counts as communication. When the robot asks him to stop, Bender responds by throwing greasy popcorn, officially choosing violence over compromise. The robot stands up, revealing he's much larger than expected, and Bender immediately realizes confidence has taken him too far. Chaos follows and Bender drops his popcorn. Oil spills everywhere and the giant robot slips, crashes, and knocks himself out. The crowd freezes, then erupts in applause, convinced they've just witnessed a legendary upset instead of a greasy accident. It turns out the unconscious robot is the Masked Unit, champion of ultimate robot fighting.
I'm the commissioner of ultimate robot fighting. I want you in the ultimate robot fighting league.
Ignoring training, medical checks, and basic responsibility in favor of contracts, applause, and blind enthusiasm, which neatly explains how this sport survives. Leela tries to turn this into something real by training Bender, as she still believes effort matters.
Let's see what you got. Touch your toes.
Bender listens just long enough to agree, then focuses entirely on enjoying attention. His first match is against the Clear Cutter, a robot with axes for hands, which feels unfair in a way wrestling finds comforting. Bender charges, gets destroyed, and somehow wins anyway, because the crowd wants him to. Backstage, Bender learns the truth. The fights are fixed and popularity decides winners, while skill is just an optional concept. Bender processes this information briefly, then celebrates harder, believing fame is easier than training, and it feels better too. He keeps winning, becoming wildly popular and enjoying the perks while Leela watches the sport eat itself. Eventually, the crowd gets bored, as fame needs constant escalation. The league gives Bender a choice: lose on purpose in a humiliating gimmick, or fight Destructor and probably die.
I am Destructor! She hit the fight!
Leela refuses to help until she learns Destructor is trained by Master Fnog, the man who ended her kung fu dreams, instantly turning reluctance into unfinished business. The final match drops all pretense, with Bender dressed in a pink tutu for humiliation and Destructor presented as a spectacle, confirming the sport prefers attention over dignity. What follows is not a fight, but a correction, as Bender gets demolished in the most predictable way possible. Leela exposes the control trick, knocks out Fnog, and accidentally hands Destructor the win by collapsing it onto Bender. The episode mocks combat sports where outcomes are scripted, fame beats skill, and nobody cares as long as the crowd stays loud. After wrestling exposes fixed matches, Futurama finds a sport that breaks physics instead. The Butterjunk Effect. Season 7, Episode 6. This episode starts when the crew lands on the moon and accidentally discovers that even chaos can be organized if enough people agree it's a competition. While returning stolen moon rocks, they stumble into the Butterfly Derby, a mid-air wrestling sport where women in butterfly wingsuits fight while floating, proving that the future never asks whether something should exist, only whether it can charge admission.
Do we have 2 volunteers to go wing to wing with the murderflies?
Come on, Amy.
At first, Amy and Leela enter the Butterfly Derby wearing their regular clothes under the flight wings, clearly unprepared for what's ahead. The reigning champions easily overpower them, tossing them around the arena like ragdolls. Despite the embarrassing loss, the promoter is impressed by their energy and signs them up as a new team called the Wingnuts. But this time in the match, they're shown wearing rather unusual outfits. And for the next round, they take it up a notch, appearing in their boldest looks yet. They dressed in short bottoms and a tight top with a belt just below the chest, paired with boots and dramatic wings. But despite their effort, Amy and Leela keep losing every single match. Everything changes when they see their opponents are secretly using a substance called Nectar, a powerful performance enhancer that boosts strength and stamina.
It's a plant-based supplement that bulks up your flapping muscles. Wanna try it?
Desperate to win, Amy and Leela try it too, and soon transform into muscular, hyper-confident versions of themselves. Under Nectar's influence, Amy becomes noticeably more aggressive, competitive, and brash, a huge contrast from her usual bubbly personality. Her new strength also changes the way she's drawn and animated. Broader shoulders, sharper tone, and a physical intensity that gives the episode a far more adult edge. This heavy body tears up her usual outfit, turning it sleeveless and even shorter. After that, on the battlefield, Amy and Leela become an unstoppable duo, defeating every opponent that comes their way. Their next match was against the Murderflies, a team of fierce, powerful women who had dominated the competition. The chaos peaks when their nectar supply finally runs out.
Listen up! We're out of nectar, and we need a new source!
The professor discovers that the substance actually comes from a rare flower on Kif's home planet, Amphibios 9, so the crew sets off to collect more. While exploring a butterfly preserve there, Fry gets sprayed by a male butterfly's pheromones, making him smell and even taste like pure nectar. Leela becomes increasingly drawn to Fry under the influence of the nectar and ends up kissing him. He even tastes like the nectar itself. Overcome with desire, she tells him to keep his door open that night.
Keep your door unlocked tonight.
But Amy takes advantage of the situation. When Fry hears a knock and says, "Come in," he assumes it's Leela, but it's Amy. She slips into his bed and starts making out with him. Just then, Leela walks in and catches them. Furious and hurt, Leela confronts them, accusing them of betrayal. In the heat of the moment, she kisses Fry again, but Amy refuses to back down, saying,
Hey, just because he's your boyfriend doesn't mean you get him all to yourself.
And joins in. The professor steps in and explains that the nectar is causing their uncontrollable behavior. Even after returning to their planet, both Amy and Leela struggle to resist Fry, clinging to him and fighting for his attention, while Fry seems to enjoy all the chaos. Realizing how far things have gone, they decide to quit the nectar once and for all. They even handcuff themselves to the bed to keep from drinking it again. Eventually, they overcome their addiction and return to the battlefield without the nectar. At first, they are nearly defeated by the insect girls, but before the final blow, Fry, now transformed into an insect due to the nectar, arrives. Both butterfly girls are instantly attracted to him, halting the fight. Later, the professor treats Fry, and everything finally returns to normal. The episode mocks performance enhancement, competitive obsession, and the idea that winning is worth becoming unrecognizable. Bend Her, Season 4, Episode 13. This episode drops us into the Earth 3004 Olympic Games, a sign that the future looked at regular Olympics and decided they weren't bureaucratic or ridiculous enough. Hermes is competing in limbo and actually feels confident, which already annoys Bender. Then Bender sees massive male bending robots winning with ease and suddenly feels small, ignored, and personally attacked by reality. His conclusion is simple. The problem is not his skill, it's the category. So he disguises himself as a female robot named Coilette and enters the women's events. Everything unravels when officials announce gender testing before the ceremony. Panic sets in. Quitting is not an option, so Bender demands Professor Farnsworth give him a sex change operation immediately. The surgery works, but it also gives Coilette intense emotions and mood swings. Bender wanted medals, not feelings, and he's clearly unprepared. Things spiral when Coilette appears on a late-night talk show and meets Calculon. Calculon falls in love instantly, since subtle romance doesn't exist in soap operas or his brain. He invites Coilette to dinner, and Bender pretends this is fine until he hears about the expensive yacht. Resistance ends immediately. They dance, spend time together, and Bender openly admits he's now a trophy girlfriend. The plan is simple: take the gifts, turn back into a man, and disappear. Then, Calculon smashes through a wall, proposes marriage, and hands over a massive diamond ring. Bender says yes, fully planning a future divorce. Calculon escalates further by taking Coilette on a hot air balloon and threatening to jump if they can't be together. Somehow this works. Between dramatic speeches and complete sincerity, Bender starts feeling real guilt. He hugs Calculon and gets emotional, which should never happen. Coilette realizes she can't marry Calculon, but also can't break his heart, which is a problem Bender has never planned for. So the crew chooses the most reasonable solution available in Futurama: fake her death at the wedding. Bender returns to normal and claims the experience changed nothing, even though staging your own dramatic death usually counts as character development. After watching the Olympics survive identity fraud without blinking, Futurama asks a bigger question. What happens when time itself joins the game? Time keeps on slippin'. Season 3, Episode 14. This episode begins in full Futurama chaos, and somehow turns into another emotional hit for Fry. A group of globetrotters suddenly lands on Earth and challenges the planet to a basketball game.
But now, for no reason, we challenge you to defend your honor on the basketball court.
For reasons no one really explains. Professor Farnsworth accepts instantly, because stopping to think has never really been his thing. The professor decides to create mutant supermen, but instead, he makes glowing mutant babies who can barely stand. To fix this, the crew collects chronotons, dangerous particles that once destroyed an entire civilization. The game begins, Earth is winning, and then time skips without warning. Fry suddenly appears as the 5th player, full of confidence and zero skill, mostly because Leela's watching.
Who cares? We're 35 points ahead with 2 minutes left. What could possibly...
Time immediately jumps again. The game is over. Earth loses 244 to 86. Leela blames Fry, and Fry looks crushed. From his point of view, the game barely happened. Being blamed for something you never got a chance to finish feels unfair, and Fry takes it personally. As time skips get worse, the universe starts falling apart, and the Globetrotters help fix the damage. Meanwhile, Fry decides this is the perfect moment to confess his feelings. He invites Leela into a tiny time-proof shelter he built in a closet. Leela questions how this protects them from time jumps. Fry confidently explains that
"'Cause when we're together in here, baby, time will stand still." Ow!
Right on cue, time jumps again. Fry reappears later with a bruised eye and the same sad expression. During time skips, Fry and Leela jump forward into a wedding he doesn't remember planning, then into a divorce he doesn't remember causing. Before the final fix, Fry apologizes. As the crisis ends, Fry sees the worst part. During one time skip, he rearranged stars to spell, "I love you, Leela." The message vanishes before she ever sees it. The episode treats sports like a magic show, where confidence and shortcuts look impressive right up until the scoreboard explains the trick. So there you have it. Every sport Futurama touches ends the same way. Rules get ignored, winners get questionable, and someone walks away confused but famous. From the field to the ring to the sky and the Olympics, competition never stood a chance. Think we left out a Futurama sport moment? Drop it below. And if this made you rethink sports forever, hit like, share with other Futurama fans, and subscribe for more cartoon breakdowns.